This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Is it better wanna be like you? Do all the things that you do. You do. Is it better wanna read your thoughts? Pretend you're Kerouac and we'll get lost inside my mind. Over and over and over and over again. Someone help me. Stop the traffic in my head. Make the green give into red. There's a
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you know it. It truly does not matter who the host is. What always has mattered is who the listeners are. There is no doubt about it. Anyways, today is Friday, January the 5th of 2024. Day numero cinco of the year. Yeah, I mean, what day did you think I was going to tell you? It's only been 5 days in. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Oh, yes, infiltration and Radio Big is things that kind of go hand in hand, no doubt about that. No doubter outer as we are talking. What do you think as we are talking? Because, hey, listen, when we're doing our stuff, that means that you're hanging out with me, which is kind of a cool thing. I mean, let's not lie. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, yes, it's terrible that you're here. I love it that you're here. That's why you're here, because I love it. I mean, what else am I gonna tell you? So today, let's talk about what we do today, because it is Freeform Friday, and we're not changing that, because who wants to change the Freeform of Friday? And we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios, just so you know. Live, in vivo. Yeah, about as live as it gets. I mean, I can't do anything else that makes it more live in regards to what we're doing. So if you're not familiar with the show, let's talk about it, because I want to give you the low-down dirty shame of what the hell we do here. So we talk about safety, and we talk about the news, and we talk about safety and the news. What happens on a Friday? Well, we talk about all the things that we weren't able to do earlier in the week. I mean, what else would you do? What else would you do on a Freeform Friday? I mean, I just don't know, because that seems like the right thing to do. So, there you go. All kinds of stuff, everything we go, everything we do, and everything that, we should go about and doing. So, there you go. So, with that being said, why don't we start talking right away on how you can get involved. If you want to interact with the show, all you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That will get you moving and grooving inside of our system. That's the way that we move. That's the way that we groove. That's the way that we do our thing inside of here. Outside of that, if you go into the social media platform, well, it's there. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's not there, because I'd be lying to you if I told you that it wasn't there. But when you go into the social media platforms, I don't get to see it all. So that's the interesting one for sure. But if you do go to callinradio.com, I will get to see it everywhere. I will get to see it everywhere on what is going on. No doubt about that. So just keep that in mind. Callinradio.com will get you moving and grooving inside of here. And we will get moving in regards of setting everything up for us to be able to interact. And once you get there, it's video streaming, it's audio streaming, it's all kinds of interesting stuff that we get to do all together for sure. So keep that in mind as we are going, and that is how it works. So with that being said, why don't we start talking right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight, because I think that is going to be important. So let's go ahead and start talking about what the hell was trending.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I look at the trends of the ends, no doubt about it, all kinds of interesting stuff going on in the overnight, and let's talk about it. Smartphone tech comes full circle, and El Salvador celebrates a milestone. We'll talk about that. Jeremy Allen White shows off his Calvins, and Britney Spears is not getting back into music biz, just so you know. And Killers of the Flower Moon will hit Apple next week. We'll talk about that as we get into casting calls. And the Monarchs to be the Denmark appear to be on the rocky ground. We'll get into all that as we get into the details. Yeah, the DDEDs of everything that's going on. Keep in mind that we are a radio station first, podcast network second, and a streamer for video. Numero tres. I have some people coming in saying that it seems like there is some issues with the stream. So I will let you know that if there is issues with the stream, sorry about that. Definitely never our plan to have issues with the streamer. But hey, those things do happen. But we are on our radio station. That is for sure as we are talking. So there you go. There you go. There you go. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we do this? Why don't we get in our professional news broadcasters and let them tell you exactly what the hell is going on inside of the world of the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. Former Paralympic star Oscar Pistorius has been released from prison on parole almost 11 years after murdering his girlfriend. The disgraced South African sprinter shot Reeva Steenkamp through a door multiple times, claiming that he thought she was a burglar. From Pretoria, Ollie Barrett reports.
South African officials say that Oscar Pistorius is now at home. He will face strict parole conditions, no consumption of alcohol, no media interviews allowed. He will have to continue rehabilitation programs around gender-based violence and anger management issues. June Steenkamp, the mother of Reeva, has issued a statement saying that she is not opposed to Oscar Pistorius' controversial release from prison on parole. He will remain under these parole conditions until the end of his sentence in 2029.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the Middle East for the fourth time in 3 months. His trip to a number of countries comes as the Israeli army withdraws thousands of its troops from the Gaza Strip and shifts to lower intensity military operations following its ground offensive. But the conflict also shows signs of escalating to the wider region, with a suspected Israeli strike on a Hamas leader in Lebanon, twin Islamic State bombings in Iran, and Iran-funded Houthi militants in Yemen attacking ships in the Red Sea. Benji Haya reports.
Antony Blinken is again engaging in a whistle-stop tour in an effort to calm tensions. That as President Joe Biden's national security team convenes in the White House to review possible military options against what the US calls the destabilizing actions of Houthi rebels. The Biden administration is also weighing a proposal to name a new top diplomat to focus on long-term Israeli-Palestinian relations, easing some of the day-to-day pressure off of the president during an election year. Benji Haya, Washington.
Primary and secondary schools in Zambia have been shut due to an ongoing cholera epidemic. Students were meant to return next Monday, but that's been delayed by 3 weeks. Daniel Kijo reports.
Zambia's Ministry of Health has revealed that 3,015 cholera cases and 98 deaths have been recorded since October last year. During the coming 3 weeks, educators at all learning institutions should ensure that their schools are cleaned and have good sanitation, running water, as well as enough hand-washing stations. The ministry has warned that the outbreak was threatening the country's health security. Cholera has affected 16 African countries over the last 2 years as severe storms and wars have accelerated the spread of diseases. The bacterial disease, which causes severe hydration from vomiting and diarrhea, can kill within hours if untreated. Daniel Kijo, Dar es Salaam.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more detail today at the Houthis, the Iran-backed militia in Yemen that have been making life miserable for tanker traffic in the strategically important Red Sea. The US and its allies are warning the Houthis to stop firing missiles at commercial vessels or face military reprisals. But who are the Houthis and what do they want? Defence analyst Professor Michael Clark is a fellow at King's College London.
I mean, they're not fully in control of Tehran. They are clients of Iran, and the Iranians could stop them most of the time if they wanted to. But even then, the Houthis are not fully in control of their own forces. So over the years, they've lobbed lots of missiles into Saudi Arabia. They've been quite audacious using Iranian missiles. And now they claim to be attacking shipping that's associated with Israel, but it isn't. They're just taking pot shots at anything that passes through for a number of reasons, partly because they want to make themselves bigger on the world stage. They're being used by Iran to indicate that the Gaza war is more serious. It's intended to frighten everybody, to frighten world trade. And in a way, I think they're also trying to provoke the Americans and the British as well now to attack them, so that the Americans and the British and maybe others will get drawn into a war at the tip of the Arabian Peninsula, which will look like a Western war against the Arab world in general.
It is, of course, the war in Gaza that has emboldened the Houthis and raised the stakes at a very volatile moment in the region. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, former Paralympic star Oscar Pistorius has been released from prison on parole almost 11 years after murdering his girlfriend. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the Middle East for the fourth time in 3 months for continued diplomatic discussions on the Israel-Palestine war. And primary and secondary schools in Zambia have been shut due to an ongoing cholera epidemic. That's the latest feature story news. John Beaver reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves. Only on Safety FM.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
As your safety scene old, stale, and hackney, safety fingers, silver, and warped version. How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Polzel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
You are listening to a renowned safety expert, Dr. Jay Allen, on Safety FM. Changing safety cultures, one broadcast and one podcast at a time. Join the fun on social media and find us on Facebook at Safety FM.
Okay, there you go. We are currently 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely, lovely, lovely Freeform Friday, because what else would it be as we are hanging out and doing our thingo? Yeah, that's for sure, our thingo. So listen, it looks like some people are saying that the video stream stuff is not working. I'm just going to reference it one more time. But if you hang out on Rumble, you'll get it. So there you go. So just for information purposes, if you care to know, if you don't care to know, well, it doesn't matter. Now you know. So remember, radio first, everything else secondary. As I've said it not once, but probably a million times before, because what else would I talk about anything else that is going on inside of the world now? I don't know. It's just kind of it's an interesting time as we get to do all of our stuff together, as you and I hang out and do our thing. So there you go. So I don't know. Let's get into it. Let's talk about some things that are happening inside of the world as we're about to get into the verge of the shit list. So bandits in Omaha ran off with more than 10,000 comic books from a local collector that kept them in storage. Chris Renstorm says that he's amazed that more comics than he can count. Building on a hobby that developed as a kid. He tells local media the total collection adds somewhere between 60 and 100,000 comics. And it gets worse. The second time that Renstorm has lost valuables he kept the storage unit, he estimated that he lost about $75,000 worth between the two heists. $75,000 between two heists. So what do you think here? I mean, I don't know. At this particular portion, I would start thinking that maybe it's time to start considering going somewhere else in regards of where you're putting your valuables. What do you think when I say that? Am I off my rocker for thinking that way, or am I right? I don't know. So there you go. Anyways, Oscar Pistorius will be released from prison today after serving 9 years of the murder sentence for fatally shooting his girlfriend, model Reva Stemkamp, on Valentine's Day in 2013. Upon his release, the former Olympian will reportedly move into his uncle's mansion located in South Africa, which is where he lived during the trial. According to the Department of Corrections, he will be under supervision through December 2029, which is when his murder sentence ends. In addition to being under supervision, he will also have to attend anger management and violence against women program, as well perform community service. He will also be limited to when he can leave the home and cannot consume alcohol or other banned substances. Worth noting, in South Africa, offenders are eligible for parole after serving at least half of their sentence, regardless of how serious the crime. Also, the Department of Corrections says that they do not use monitoring devices for paroled offenders. Instead, he will be monitored by the department of officials appointed to the case. This is according to AP News. So what do you think here? It's definitely interesting. I mean, I don't want to come across and say that I don't find it interesting at all, because, look, you killed somebody. Found guilty of. Not doubts. I mean, not anything else. Not anybody going, oh, we're not sure. The thing was, you were found guilty, and now you get to stay inside of a house for the next 5 years. And let's make sure that we're very specific here. It's not just a house. It's a mansion. Yeah, it's a mansion. I mean, I don't know. Good for him that he was able to pull that one off. I mean, I don't know. I look at it and go, how the hell would I be able to get away with something like that? Not that I really am interested in it, but think about that. How does that even work?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, the government of El Salvador announced that this week a near total eradication of violent crime in the country as a result of President Nayib Bukele. Reform agenda. Murders fell from 495 in 2022 to 154 in 2023, and a population of more than 6.6 million. Last year's stats represent a nearly 94% decrease in murders since Homeboy took over in 2019, is 1/3 of the UN's average global murder rate. Also, since 2022, the government in El Salvador has thrown 75,000 gang members and their associates into prison, regularly publishes videos of gang members lined up behind bars. So tell me how this program works. And can it be something that's brought to the States? I'm just asking. I mean, don't get mad at me. It's just a question. I ask questions because, that's kind of the gig. You ask a question, I ask a question, we question stuff together. That's the thing. That's the thing. So I don't know. How do you feel about this one? Because we want to know that. So how do you feel about it? So there you go. What else? What else do we got going on? Let's talk about some smartphone technology. Comes full circle with the release of a special iPhone case that includes a physical keyboard underneath the screen. Yeah, you heard me correctly. The $139 offering Clicks technology works with newer iPhone models. Yeah, I did say newer iPhone models. The company expects the updated version of the early spring to work with the newest iPhone Pro Max. The last time the company rolled out such a case, BlackBerry managed to sue them out of the existence for copying the look and design of the keyboards that pioneered the smartphone technology. So all this is coming across via The Verge. So what do you think here? Isn't it interesting on how people want physical keyboards? I mean, I remember purchasing a phone many, many, many years ago. I want to say it was called the Storm. It was a Storm phone sold by Verizon. And I remember that it was one of the first Blackberries that did not have a physical keyboard, but the screen pressed in every time you clicked on it. Talk about an inconvenience thing in regards to when you were pressing it, because you had to let the thing pop up before you could press back down. It was a cluster F, just to say the least. But hey, now people want keyboards again. I don't know. I look at it and I go, it's kind of interesting on how you see some of the things going on. Like, I've been talking to my oldest daughter lately and telling her that all these new things that are in model, in mode, the fashion statements that are going on right now. Same with the same shit that you used to see in the 90s. Yeah, it's kind of interesting on how it works. I guess things just kind of keep on revamping as they go. Let's talk about something in the local atmosphere here. An Orlando area man is seeking $100,000 in damages from Dunkin' after he says a toilet at one of their locations exploded, not only covering him in waste, but also inflicting severe long-term injuries. The January 2022 incident also required him to undergo mental health counseling, as one imagines would be necessary after suffering a toilet explosion. Yeah, a toilet explosion. The alleged victim says that he emerged from the restroom apparently with the toilet exploded and covered in feces. Employees acknowledged that they were aware of the problem of the toilet. No kidding. So there you go. What caused the porcelain to pop is unclear. So here's my question: is he suing them because of the toilet exploding and the feces being in it? And I have the strange question. Whose feces was it exactly? Because I think that's going to play a factor.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Was that too much? I never know. I never know. So there you go. Some stuff to think about as we are hanging and banging and doing our thing. That is for sure. So there you go. Some stuff to talk about. No doubt about it, as we are moving and grooving. So let's talk about it. Some deaths going on. Yeah, I know. Sad to talk about that we have a category just for that, but it's kind of the way that we look at some of these things. So here you go. Actress Glynis Johns has passed. She passed away of natural causes in an assisted living home in Los Angeles. Johns is best known for the role of Mrs. Banks in Mary Poppins. She was 100 at the time of her passing. So there you go. Some information for you as we are talking. So let's go ahead and do this right now. Let's talk about some money matters, because people care about money and it does seem to matter to some. So let's talk about what exactly is going on. The Dow increased by 10 points to close at 37,440 on Thursday. The S&P lost about 16 points to close at 4,688, and the NASDAQ lost about 81 points to close at 14,510. West Texas Intermediate closed at $72 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $77 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.09 on Thursday. Bitcoin rebounded on Thursday, up to over 3% of the trading, right around 44,200 on Thursday evening. And there was more than 2,605 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Thursday, with about 95 such cancellations. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for a $140 million jackpot or a $68.8 million cash payout. Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for, are you ready for this? $35 million jackpot or a $17.7 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. So are you interested in that stuff? I never know. I never know what to talk about when it comes to that, because it's interesting. Because I look at it and I go, did you know this? Did you not know that? I don't know. So there you go. Anyways, take a listen to this. Let's talk about some Did You Know real quick as we go further down the line. With Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse having entered public domain at the beginning of 2024, there was already been a Mickey Mouse horror film announced. A meme coin, an explosion of AI-generated art, some G-rated, some definitely not, but save your Disney-themed tears. Mickey is one of the biggest, Mickey is one of the big reasons the company has been able to grow the company worth about $171 billion over the last 100 years. And according to Forbes, it estimates that the big-eared one has directly earned more than $5.8 billion a year in box office sales, TV series, merchandise, theme parks, and partnerships and promotions of Disney brand in the recent years. It's all part of the magic. So this is according to the Daily Mail. So what do you think when you hear that? Do you look at it and go, oh, yes, that's easy peasy? Or do you look at it and go, holy guacamole stuff? Because, listen, I'm going to tell you, $5.8 billion ain't something to laugh at. That's for sure. So when you take a look at this and go, the mouse is not doing bad for himself whatsoever. So think about that as we are talking. Anyways, let's talk about this. Calvin Klein says a new ad featuring Jeremy Allen White nearly broke the internet on Thursday. Not only were the photos posted across social media platforms, but White also shared a video of the shoot featuring him in the buff, running naked, sweating, and stripping as he shows off his brand underwear. This is according to Instagram. Hey, Calvin Klein, the ladies in the room are all for Jeremy White collaboration with Mark Wahlberg, by the way. So I don't know why I needed to know that, but hey, apparently some of the writers around here think that was important to know. So what do you think? Have you taken a look at this, and is this even something that you care about? I'm just asking. Because apparently it's a thing. It's a thing that people care about. I mean, and recently he had done a movie, that Iron Claw movie, that's based on the famous Von Erich family. So I don't know. If you're interested in taking a look, go out there and look away. Also, it turns out that Britney Spears is not actually working on a 10th studio album and has no plans to do anything music related anytime soon. As reported yesterday, Insider said that fellow musician Charlie XCX and Julia Michaels have been tapped by Spears to team up to help write some tracks. In response, Spears took to Instagram to let her fans know that the reports are not true. That being said, it's been 8 years since her last album, Glory, was released. This is according to TMZ. So there you go. Are you looking forward to new music from Britney? Well, because if you are, I guess the latest thing you're going to get is the Elton John stuff that she had done. So there you go. Some stuff to think about for sure as we are talking. Anyways, Joe Jonas and model Stormy Bree were spotted boarding his private plane in Cabo this week. While there was no physical interaction between as the two boarded, fans were quickly to assume because there's no other thing that you could do. Quickly assume that they are dating and began searching for more clues. Here's what they found. This appears to be the first public sighting of the singer and former Miss Teen USA, as far as them follows the other on social media. Meanwhile, things appear to be going well for ex-wife Sophie Turner, as her new man, British guy, Green Pearson, who spent the holidays together, though it is unknown if she introduced him to her kids. I mean, that could be important. And Zendaya is no longer following anyone on Instagram, including her boyfriend, Tom Holland. Fans have noticed the actress made a clean sweep after posting a poster of her upcoming movie, Challengers, which she captioned the release date as April 26th. While she gave no explanation for the move, Zendaya has in the past spoken out about taking breaks from social media for good for her mental health. So there you go. So listen, I'm going to tell you, if you listen to our radio station that we have here, we have our little Safety FM station and our little Radio Big station. One of the first songs that we played was from this band called Rage Against the Machine. And to share some bad news, it looks like they have disbanded. Again, drummer Brad Wilk made the announcement on Instagram, letting fans know that they should not hold out hope for the group's public service announcement reunion tour. The Rage Against the Machine third goodbye, also just to make that reference, they also split in 2000 and 2011. So there you go. Don't know what's going to happen there, but there we are. What else do we have? Taylor Swift, a little Golden Book biography, is the fastest selling title in Little Golden Book history, selling more than 1 million copies in the first 7 months. It is the first month of the Sheldon Took book, sold over 167,000 copies, a huge leap from the 5,000 to 6,000 copies that typically the Golden Book biography sells at the time frame. So there you go. This is according to NBC 26. Also, Rod Stewart left a $13,000 tip for the staff at the Glendale's Hotel in Scotland after his family rang in the new year. I've been lucky enough to stay in some of the top hotels in the world, and the service at the Glendale's is second to none. He told the Daily Record rooms for the hotel start about at $2,000 a night. So there you go. What else? Shia LaBeouf has seen the light. The controversial written actor has joined the Catholic Church through the sacrament of confirmation, according to the Catholic News Agency. He also is apparently looking into becoming a deacon at the church sometime in the future, per the outlet. Here's the connection. LaBeouf confirmation sponsored by brother Alexander Rodriguez told CNA that the actor has been considering becoming a deacon ever since his role of the Italian priest Francesco in 2022 and the movie Padre Pio. So there you go. Don't know. I'll reference this one real quick, and then we'll get into some other stuff. Martin Scorsese's Killer of the Flower Moon will be available on stream service Apple TV Plus on January the 12th. The release comes after the film made just over $156 million globally. Killer of the Flower Moon is set in the 1920s Oklahoma in the center of the serial murder of the oil-wealthy Osage Nation. A string of brutal crimes came to be known as the Reign of Terror. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, just to name a few. This is according to Deadline. So there you go. Some stuff to think about. Anyways, it is that time for us to do that thing that we normally do, but on Fridays, it's all about the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Story News in London, I'm Simon Gaitan. Former Paralympic star Oscar Pistorius has been released from prison on parole almost 11 years after murdering his girlfriend. The disgraced South African sprinter shot Reeva Steenkamp through a door multiple times, claiming that he thought she was a burglar. From Pretoria, Ollie Barrett reports.
South African officials say that Oscar Pistorius is now at home. He will face strict parole conditions, no consumption of alcohol, no media interviews allowed. He will have to continue rehabilitation programs around gender-based violence and anger management issues. June Steenkamp, the mother of Reeva, has issued a statement saying that she is not opposed to Oscar Pistorius' controversial release from prison on parole. He will remain under these parole conditions until the end of his sentence in 2029.
US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the Middle East for continued diplomatic discussions on the Israel-Gaza war. His trip to a number of countries, including Israel, comes as the Israeli army withdraws thousands of its troops from the Palestinian Strip and shifts to lower-intensity military operations following its ground offensive in the Hamas-run territory. But the conflict also shows signs of escalating to the wider region, with a suspected Israeli strike on a Hamas leader in Lebanon, twin Islamic State bombings in Iran, and with Iran-funded Houthi militants in Yemen attacking ships in the Red Sea. Benji Hire reports.
Antony Blinken is again engaging in a whistle-stop tour in an effort to calm tensions. That as President Joe Biden's national security team convenes in the White House to review possible military options against what the US calls the destabilizing actions of Houthi rebels. The Biden administration is also weighing a proposal to name a new top diplomat to focus on long-term Israeli-Palestinian relations, easing some of the day-to-day pressure off of the president during an election year. Benji Hire, Washington.
Inflation in the Eurozone jumped back up in December, leading to fresh speculation about when the European Central Bank will start cutting interest rates. Financial markets across the continent dipped into the red off the back of the fresh data. Our European correspondent Giles Gibson has more.
Inflation in the Eurozone hit 2.9% last month, up from 2.5% in November. Economists say the increase is due to government subsidies ending and certain energy prices no longer being part of the calculations. After raising interest rates significantly over the course of 2023, investors are expecting the ECB to start cutting rates in the spring. Exactly when central bankers decide to start doing that depends on when they decide inflation has bottomed out. Giles Gibson, Rome.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more detail today at the Houthis, the Iran-backed militia in Yemen that have been making life miserable for tanker traffic in the strategically important Red Sea. The US and its allies are warning the Houthis to stop firing missiles at commercial vessels or face military reprisals. But who are the Houthis and what do they want? Defence analyst Professor Michael Clark is a fellow at King's College London.
I mean, they're not fully in control of Tehran. They are clients of Iran, and the Iranians could stop them most of the time if they wanted to. But even then, the Houthis are not fully in control of their own forces. So over the years, they've lobbed lots of missiles into Saudi Arabia. They've been quite audacious using Iranian missiles. And now they claim to be attacking shipping that's associated with Israel, but it isn't. They're just taking pot shots at anything that passes through for a number of reasons, partly because they want to make themselves bigger on the world stage. They're being used by Iran to indicate that the Gaza war is more serious. It's intended to frighten everybody, to frighten world trade. And in a way, I think they're also trying to provoke the Americans and the British as well now to attack them, so that the Americans and the British and maybe others will get drawn into a war at the tip of the Arabian Peninsula, which will look like a Western war against the Arab world in general.
It is, of course, the war in Gaza that has emboldened the Houthis and raised the stakes at a very volatile moment in the region. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories. Former Paralympian Oscar Pistorius has been released from prison on parole almost 11 years after murdering his girlfriend. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in the Middle East for diplomatic talks on the Israel-Gaza war, amid fears of escalation after the killing of a Hamas leader in a strike on Lebanon, bombings in Iran, and attacks on Red Sea shipping by Houthi rebels. And North Korea has fired hundreds of artillery shells towards South Korean islands, triggering evacuations. That's the latest feature story news. Simon Gaitan reporting.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Let me talk to you real quick. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Spend your time this month shopping for gifts and sipping cocoa, not stuck at the checkout line. Sign up for HelloFresh and get everything you need to whip up a fresh, tasty meal delivered to your door. Just choose your recipes, select a delivery date, and relax knowing the dinner's on its way. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items to choose from every week, so it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. Go to HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM-free. That's HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM-free to use the code SafetyFM-free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM-free with code SafetyFM-free. And don't forget that this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Radio. USA, Canada, UK. Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big. Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good. On Radio Big.
Is it but I wanna drink you in? Salted sweet with every single sip. to burn my lips. Is it I don't wanna write your name 1,000 times on everything I owe. Over and over and over and over again. Someone help me. Stop the traffic in my head.
Okay, here we are, 45 minutes past the top of the hour. And I'm asking you to stop the traffic in my head. You are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show here on Safety FM and Radio Big. Hopefully you are having a grandioso time as we are hanging out and asking people to stop the traffic in my head. So this right here, of course, is called Stop the Traffic. This song is by X&O. Thanks for them to allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Hour number 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. So there you go. Give it a little screamer-eamer action if you'd like. You know, it's a good one. It's a good one to listen to. Yeah, stop the traffic in my head. So there you go. Anyways, available on YouTube Music, Apple Music, and Spotify. Yeah, Spotify. So there you go. Yeah, stop the traffic in my head. Okay, so let's get back into it. Thanks to X&O for this one once again. Let's talk about the most important thing that I'm ever going to tell you in my lifetime. And it's no matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. To Right Love on Her Arms wants you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. They can. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com and click on the section on the far right-hand side that says Find Help. That will get things moving and grooving for you. Yes, moving and grooving for you. No doubt about that. To Right Love on Her Arms will get everything moving and grooving for you. TWLOHA.com. So there you go. To Right Love on Her Arms. So there you go. Anyway, so let's get into some other things that are going on. Let's talk about some movie stuff. So new this week in the movie theater, if you're interested in going night swim, a family moves into a new large house with an outdoor pool. While on the surface, everything's appeared to be perfectly normal, diving deeper reveals the evil entity waiting beneath. So that's available PG-13. Weak Layers. Yeah, that came out today. In limited release. After getting evicted, 3 party-loving friends set out to win a ski movie competition to cover their rent, but they'll have to beat professional skiers and a filmmaker. So there you go. There is no rating for that one, just so you know. And Good Grief Rated R. That's out today. Mark finds friends inspiring after the sudden death of his husband. And leaning on his 2 best friends for support to thank them, Mark takes them out to a trip to Paris, but the trip finds all of them confronting some uncomfortable truths. So that's available today. So there you go. Some movies and movie theaters and all kinds of stuff. So let's do some doggy talk. Yeah, I don't know why we're going to do this, but let's go ahead and do that anyways. A psychologist is advising dog owners to talk to their pets more often. In her column for Psychology Today, Dr. Jen Goldbeck points out that a few benefits for humans to canine conversation, and some of them are for people. For the dogs, let's see, what does it say? When you talk to them, especially if you have to sing songy baby dog voice, so many of us do. Researchers call this dog directed speech. And it turns out that dogs actually prefer it. What's more, studies shows that the reward center of the dog's brain is more responsive to the owner's voice of another person's. Simply hearing your voice makes the dog happy. Talking to the dog makes you happy too. If you're speaking to your dog face to face and looking into their eyes, you're both likely to experience a surge of oxytocin, often called the love hormone, which makes you feel good. Studies have also showed that some people are more likely comfortable confiding with their dogs about unpleasant emotions such as depression, anxiety, and fear than what they are with partners or friends. Researchers speculate that this may be because dogs are non-judgmental listeners, and putting your feelings into words allows you to feel heard, which can be good for you, emotionally at least. Well, I guess that I can I can teach Rover to speak. He can do the same for me. So I used to share all my problems with my dog until she started to understand me. That poor thing. I mean, you never know what's going to happen once the dog starts understanding exactly what you're talking about, because that will definitely become an area of concern when you really start thinking about it. You don't want the dog to understand too much, because things can get a little bit wild from there. That's for sure.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
So there you go. There you go. There you go. For sure. So let's talk a little bit more about some other things that are happening inside of the world, though, because why would you not want to do that? Let's take a look. A group of passengers trying to celebrate New Year's twice are furious about flight delays that ruined their time machine flight. The 3,000-mile United Airlines flight that was scheduled to depart Guam at 7:35 on January the 1st of 2024 and land in Honolulu at 6:50 p.m. on December the 31st of 2023. Thanks to the 20-hour time difference between the locations, this meant the passengers would effectively travel back in time to ring in the new year twice. But unfortunately, the 7-hour flight delay by 6.5 hours as a result, which landed at 12:35 a.m., missing the New Year's Eve countdown. United had advertised the Back to the Future Esquess flight, which in the words, the future live once, but you once can celebrate the New Year's Eve twice. Well, technically, they did celebrate New Year's Eve twice. It just, one of them was in the air. So, I don't know. You have to plan those things out so well that it's very difficult for it to work out the way that you want it to. Anyways, with that being said, why don't we do this? Let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. Today's quote was submitted by Brent. Booker T. Washington said, "If you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else." I love this. What a great quote. It's pretty much saying, if you want to do well, help others do well first. I'm a big fan of this. I try to do this in my life all the time. I have opportunities that come my way that I could easily keep for myself and only for myself. But many times, I find a way to share these opportunities with others. Sometimes I pass them on to someone else completely, just as a way to say thank you to that person for their help. In life, so many things are like an echo. If you put out negative, you seem to reap negative. But on the other hand, if you put out positive, you seem to reap positive. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello. I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Faith is not what you think. Faith is not even what you feel. Faith is not a carefully worded doctoral statement or theological treatise. Faith is what you do in obedience to the prompting of the Holy Spirit. So let me ask you a couple of questions. Are you walking in faith or living in fear? Are you playing it safe or are you risking everything in obedience to Jesus Christ? Lord Jesus, give us the courage to step out in obedient faith, even when you ask us to go where we've never gone and do things we've never done. In your holy name I pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Us make fun of people? Never. What are you talking about? I think you're slightly confused, my friends. Yeah, that's what's going on. So let's talk about it. Let's take a look around. Let's talk about this one. Back in 2020, 2020, on this day, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood wins the Best Comedy Musical, and 1917 wins the Best Drama at the 77th Golden Globes. Renee Zellweger, Joaquin Phoenix, to name a few, also win the night's big award. So there you go. Also, what's going on? Some birthdays for today. Bianca Censori turns 29. Zuki Waterhouse turns 32. Kristen Cavallari turns 37. Jason Mitchell, 37. January Jones turns 46. Bradley Cooper turns 49 today. Marilyn Manson turns 55. Carrie Ann Inaba turns 56. Vinnie Jones, 59. Clancy Brown turns 65. Diane Keaton turns 78. Juan Carlos turns 86. And Robert Duvall, that Robert Duvall, he turns 93 today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, I have some of those for you. It's National Keto Day. Yeah, good luck getting into keto. And ketosis today. National Screenwriters Day. National Whipped Cream Day. And National Bird Day. Not Flip the Bird Day. I mean, just saying it's National Bird Day. Take that for whatever you want. That is for sure. So there you go. A lot of stuff, little time. That's the way that it always looks as we are talking. Anyways, at the top of the hour, before I get too far away from it, we have a couple of options you can do. If you hang out on Radio Big, which we are on right now, you can take a listen to hour 2 and 3 of what I have going on. If you stay on Safety FM, you'll get to hang out with Sheldon Primus and listen to the World of Safety Consulting. He'll talk about that, how to get that all started up. And if you don't have a New Year's plan, maybe that is something to think about in regards of it. So there you go. There you go. Some stuff going on right there. No doubt about it. Let me give you some whack facts real quick. If you ran literally at a snail's pace, it would take you 18 months to finish a marathon. The average snowflake falls about 3 miles per hour. 1 inch of snow will produce just less than 1/10 of an inch of water when melted. A high quality a Persian rug can last 500 years. Incidents of deja vu decrease with age. And Tom Cruise writes with his right hand, but does almost everything else with his left one. So there you go. There's some whack facts for you if you wanted them. If you need a random joke for today, I have a black guy in karate. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What is the best way you or someone you know has gotten out of a ticket or trouble with the law? Should we say PG versions only? I mean, maybe that's the thing. Also, if you need a question for the water cooler, try this. A survey found that we are 15% more likely to do this during the month of January. What is it? Meet a significant other. Why January? That's kind of weird. Are you kind of on the lookout, or have you determined that in December you don't want to meet them because you don't want to buy anything for anybody else? I mean, I get it. That's for sure. No doubt about that. But, I mean, kind of a weird time or a weird date to say that this is the timeline on when this occurs. No doubt about that. So what do you think? So there you go. A lot of interesting stuff going on. So with that being said, let me tell you the next few things. Like I said, top of the hour, here or there, wherever you want to go. We'll be back on Monday to do our thing, that's for sure. But you can hang out with us throughout the weekend because we are here all weekend long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No doubt about that. So here you go. If the video stream is jacked up, like everybody was saying, we'll do it on the podcast release form that we do. We'll do the video podcast, and I guess we'll get this reposted or posted for sure across the networks relatively quick. Just give us a few minutes, and we'll get that up there for you to get that all settled out for you. But if I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. We shall never know all the good that a simple smile can do. Keep that in mind as we are talking about it. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, meet and goodbye. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. Remember that. We'll see you Monday. Bye-bye, unless you're coming over with me or hanging out with Sheldon. See you later.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Go to sleep with every single sip. You burn my lips. Is it better when I write your name 1,000 times on everything I do?